Hi, welcome to McBoss Capital channel. My name is Michael Chu. This is market recap video for June 6, 2025. This is McBoss Capital channel, and we have Nasdaq here closing the week pretty strong. You can see it's up about 2.18% here on this week. So the looks like the momentum continues on this uptrend. It's a pretty sharp V-shaped rebound here, and we are very close to the previous high around 20,000. So right now it sits at 19,529. So we are very close to it. On the daily chart, we can see this week we continue to bounce from last week's low here. So again, we have a kind of open up on Monday, and then we've continued Tuesday and Thursday. We fall back reversal. So that was a very negative day, which we had a distribution day. So that is the negative for the week here. So we do have a higher volume selling. Sometimes in the uptrend we do see single day of selling, but unfortunately the number of distribution days have accumulated recently, and so we have more than, I believe, 3 and 4 distribution days on Nasdaq and S&P. So we'll talk more about that later. But we did close at the higher range of the week, so that's the positive. But again, once again, we have negative here on Thursday, so we'll see what happens here. And like I said, we are very close to the previous high. Whether we are running out of steam, that's a good question. And we will see this rally. This trend line is still very strong. And if we do break this, and the 10-day kind of slope along the same slope here right now. So if we do break below that, I think we could easily go back down and test the previous lows here. So the previous low around the 21 days right there, and also this low here, which is kind of getting close to where 200-day is. So yeah, IBD still call this a power trend because basically we have the 10-day above the 21-day, 21 above 50-day. And then I believe like it's now over 10 days, where the 10 is over the 21 days. So that's where the power trend starts. The S&P 500, we have something very similar chart. It did make new recent high here on S&P, and it kind of closed at the 6,000 mark, which is very important number. So the uptrend continues here as well. And also we are very close. 61.47 is the previous high. So again, we see the bounce from the pullback here on the 10-day, and then we bounce off here. We have a very negative day on Thursday. The difference here is, again, it did make a newer high on Friday. So whenever you have a reversal, downside reversal, and then you have a next day where you gap up and then close above the previous reversal day high, that is very bullish. So S&P is doing really well right now. And this is the previous high right here. The perspective of Friday compared to S&P and Nasdaq here didn't make a new high. So Thursday's high was 19,610, intraday high, and then the Friday's high is 19,593. But however, it did make a new closing high. So that's still a positive in that sense. So we just have to break through this high here on Thursday for this to be really decisive in terms of continuous rally here. Thing to note is we are 2 months since the April 7 low. Again, we are gonna be June 7th on Saturday, and we got 2 months into this rally. It's not too long yet for a rally. A rally can last anywhere from 8 weeks to, which is roughly 2 months, to as long as 4.5 months. Whether we are near the top, that's, we're not sure. But the problem here is, again, we have a distribution day, which is higher volume selling day. But then Friday, even though we come back up, we are having lower volume here. So we go to S&P, you see the same thing here. You can see Thursday's volume really high, and then Friday's volume is much lower. So this is not a good sign in general. You don't want to make new highs on lower volume. Usually that coincides with later stage of the rally, which is, it could end anytime soon. Like it could be 1 week, 2 weeks from now, but generally it usually near the top of peak of a rally. That's what you see. You see lower volume coming in, and then actually behind the scene you're seeing more selling. And that's why the volume is much higher on the selling side. The Dow Jones also make good movement here. You can see right here, it actually did close out a new high, recent high here. So that's also very positive. And again, we're seeing this V-shaped recovery forming right now. The daily chart, we did find lots of support here on the 21 and also 10-day. Notice how it always closed above the 10-day in those 3 days where it came below it. And then here we find support here again on Thursday, and then Friday it was able to bounce very strong. It didn't close, at a high yet, but it did intraday. It did make a newer high. Here's Russell 2000 index. We are also seeing a very strong V-shaped recovery. We did close at a new recent high right here, so that's very positive. It was up 3%, 0.1% for the week, and on the daily chart here, it did bounce back from the 21-day pink line right here. And then we continue on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Look at Thursday, we saw a big drop on other index, but yet this one didn't drop much. It was interesting to see that, right? On Thursday, it only dropped like negative 0.05% versus where the other index are down quite a bit more. And then on Friday, it very decisively came out of this recent pullback here, and it just gap up above the previous high. So this is actually showing very strong move here. In terms of economic news, we did see a slowdown in manufacturing, and that is the Institute of Supply Management Manufacturing Index for May fell to 48.5, below forecast of 49.1. That was on Monday. On Tuesday, we saw the job openings labor turnover survey came in higher than expected. And then on Wednesday, we have the ADP job report, which only showed 37,000 in May. It was expected to increase to 110,000 in May. On Thursday, there was not really much economic news. President Trump and China Xi has a phone conversation, and that leads to believe here Trump said that Scott Bessent will be the Treasury Secretary, will be leading a U.S. trade meeting with Chinese counterparts in London Monday. So that was kind of help with the market on Friday. So that was something. And then obviously we have the unemployment number. Let me show you from the IBD Investors Business Daily newspaper here. The U.S. added 139,000 jobs, which is more than expected. And also, the unemployment rate is steady, which is at 4.2%. And our average hourly earnings drop may have went sideways, 3.9%. Going into next week, we have inflation reading, the consumer price index for May, which comes Wednesday. And then we have latest producer price index report Thursday, and the consumer sentiment reading for June on Friday. We have a few more earnings coming up. GameStop here, and Oracle, and also Chewy and Adobe will be posting results this coming week. Probably the most important representation of growth stock investing is looking at the IBD 50 growth stocks ETF. This is from Innovator. And right now we are seeing many weeks of positive weeks here since the April 7 low. So almost every week is basically every week is positive. Again, this week we closed at pretty much near the top of the range, a new high here, recent high here, and we are trying to come back. This is a very deep cut base. So at least this is showing that the growth stocks ETF are doing well. Daily chart, very similar to the other index. We bounced on Monday, hold tight on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We did have a reversal and pull back to the 10-day moving average. So it does pull back quite often in the last few weeks, right? So 3 weeks in a row here, we pulled back to the 10-day, but it was able to close up and make a little high, intraday high here. So intraday high on Thursday was 30.94, and Friday it was 30.97, and like I said earlier, we pretty much closed near the top, 30.85 here. Looking at the advanced decline line, this one is for New York Stock Exchange right here. Again, we did make a new high for S&P on Friday, but you can see the high here on the advanced decline line is not the same, right? So relatively speaking, it is performing poorer. So, and that's the, kind of problem right now. Even with Thursday's distribution day, we see, before Friday, you see it's pretty much at the bottom half of this range right here. So that is the negative signal that there is some divergence between the index and the broad-based market. So because this represents the number of stocks up versus down, and so it has been weaker. Now Friday we did see a bigger jump, so potentially it could recover from Thursday's drop, but we'll see. I think maybe still early to tell. Again, the volume is kind of suspicious there, that it's much lower volume on Friday than Thursday selling. And then for Nasdaq, we are also pretty much near high here. But again, looking at the Nasdaq advanced decline line, again, on Thursday, you can see we are near the low of the range here from this previous high right there. And now it's time to come back again. It's possible it could recover. We'll see how things go next week. And perhaps, if the Chinese and US trade tariff talk, were able to get resolved, that could be another big boost to the market. And maybe that could bring the market to, even breaking out to a new high on Nasdaq and potentially S&P as well. So that could be a catalyst that could happen in the coming week. We'll see. So looking at the market trend, IBD is still putting allocation at 80 to 100%. Basically, is in a confirm uptrend mode. We did see on Thursday we have a distribution day here, which is 4 on Nasdaq and 3 on S&P. And you go back the last few weeks here, you can see all the red lines here to indicate those are distribution days. So we have a cluster of distribution days recently in the last 3 weeks. Including Thursday this week. So that's why, obviously this is not, IBD hasn't changed their allocation in any way yet, but we are, the distribution days, it has been growing in recent weeks. So that's something to be a little bit cautious about. However, the stocks under accumulation and distribution, you can see, they're still pretty healthy for the accumulation side. So we have improved quite a bit here, to 200 something here. And then on the sector side, we are also seeing healthy gains on the net accumulation minus distribution. So this is positive as well in almost all sectors here. Retail is the weakest here by Friday, but industrial seems to be very strong, and health also very strong. And tech is third in place. And fourth is commodities related. On Friday, we did see a big jump on the 10-year Treasury yield here. Not sure why, but that, it's not a good thing because, anytime it comes close to 4.5 level, we tend to start to see problem in the equity side. So again, I'm not sure why the yield jumped so much on Friday, but the market able to close okay, right? Positive at least. So not sure whether this will spell into trouble next week. We'll see. And it broke the 10-day downtrend line here. So that's something to be cautious about. US dollar continue to be somewhat weak here. Just kind of trading below the short-term 10 and 21-day moving average. The US oil has started to come up quite a bit here. So it's broken the downtrend here. And this whole week, it was able to find support at the short-term 10-day moving average. So this is looking pretty good here. So very interesting that oil is making a move right now. Gold started the week very strong on Monday, but it has kind of fallen by Friday right here, falling back to its short-term 10 and 21-day moving average here. So silver probably is the very strong right now. It bounced up, kind of breakout on Monday here, and then as you can see, traded really tight the next 2 days, and then Thursday we see another big move here. and then Friday we did kind of hit another high and closed pretty strong as well. Bitcoin has kind of started to correct a little bit, pull back here a week ago, and this week it continues. On Thursday, you can see it make a pretty sharp down day right there, and then Friday it recovers a little bit, but as you see, it is under the 10-day moving average, so that is the slope right now. Okay, going to the final segment of this video, we are going to cover the mega cap technology stocks related. So first, we're going to look at the semiconductor ETF. We went that. We also break out from this recent pullback here. And Thursday, we were able to make a new high, but we reversed because of the down day in the general market. And on Friday, this looks a little bit weaker because it closed at the low range, and also it didn't make a new high as well. So that kind of not the best looking technical move here. So looking at NVIDIA, we did also bounce back right here. So it's looking okay. Let me move away my markers for a second. And then on Tuesday, it followed through. Wednesday, it kind of make a new high again. But on Thursday, it fell as the market fell, but it didn't come back to the 10-day. So that's a healthy pullback for that day. And Friday, we're able to come back again. But it did close at the lower range, but it's still very tight, right? It's still not like it came back all the way down to the previous day low. So right now the 10-day moving average slope looks kind of like that, and we can continue this rise here. And NVIDIA is also very close to a new high, falling pretty much near what Nasdaq is doing. AVGO, which is a very strong growth stock as well in this area, has fallen on Friday due to earnings report. It closed down 5%, which is not a good thing because it has fallen back to the 10-day, which is can now consider a little danger zone. Because if it does continue to fall, it'll probably fall to 21-day, and it could fall further after that. 50 days still trying to catch up right here. So then we have Taiwan Semiconductor, looking very sharp. This stock really finding support at the 10-day very well, right? And now it's just sitting comfortably above the 10-day right now, looking pretty good. Into the software area, this is IGV ETF here. We have a slight breakout right here on Friday. Was able to close higher than this line, 105.61 versus where it break out to 105.98. So just a slight breakout here. Again, this one also been trading very tight here. So this is a good move, and we'll see if other mega caps are following. Looking at Microsoft, this is showing definitely a superior move right here. Very tight trading, and now it has made new high on Friday as well. So pretty much following very close to what IGV is doing in terms of like breaking out to new recent high. So here is the high. So Microsoft is definitely outperforming this index right now because this is probably all-time high here. So we go to weekly chart. You can see right here, this is the all-time high right here. Meta also have a very strong week here, closing up, very strong for the week, and also breakout this week, and it has started to move really fast since Monday. This is also showing very strong move here. Amazon is also moving. It hasn't yet break out from this traditional buy point, but it's getting very close to it. And then we have Google. Google pull back here to the 21-day pink line. And then finally, it start bouncing again. So it's still a little bit lagging behind other mega caps as it's trying to come back above this previous high here. So for Apple, it has been bouncing. I believe they have a conference this coming week. It is still below this trend line right here. The bounce is definitely look weaker than the other mega caps. So that's one concern here. So probably so this conference, obviously a lot of people will be paying attention to their AI driven type of services, so we'll see what comes out of that. As for Tesla, it continues its pullback this week, and it got really hammered on Thursday after the spat between Trump and Musk. There's a whole bunch of news on Twitter and everywhere, so feel free to go follow that news. But basically, they have kind of fallout right now where they just kind of start, saying negative stuff about each other. And obviously for Tesla, this is not good news because investors could be losing confidence in how Musk is handling his political side as well as his business side. And look at Friday's move; it didn't really bounce too much. It was up, I think, even at 1.5 or 6%, but it basically closed at the lower range. Now the good news is it is back above the red line, which is 50-day moving average, and it might just kind of go sideways and form an L shape, and that is a very bearish pattern. If it does form an L shape, that's usually again bearish pattern, and it could be the next step down, right? Step down. So something to pay attention to if this does happen to Tesla. Of course, Tesla also have its robo-taxi launch this coming week, I believe. So, whether it will be successful or not after that, not sure. But it is, so we'll see if there's any investors coming in to pick up the stock as the robo-taxi event is coming, or whether it will continue its sell-off. More likely, I think it might probably just kind of move sideways for a little bit and see how the launch goes. And obviously the heat between the Musk and Trump could continue, and that could also affect this stock as well. Finally, I want to touch on Netflix, doing really well. This is the one stock that's continued to, not a fast mover, but it is making new highs along the way. And it's showing lots of support at the 10-day as well. Volume has been a little bit underwhelming recently, so that's interesting. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and follow my next video, which will come out very soon, about my growth stocks list, and we'll go through them and see how they're doing right now. There is obviously some stocks kind of pulling back a little bit, maybe because it was a little bit overheat. But there's also other stocks that are kind of rising. So we are seeing the trend, continue to be quite strong. So we'll go through that in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.